Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be talking about my experiences walking the West Highland Way for a second time. So if you've watched our vlog from 2020 and you want to know more, keep watching. If you watched our vlog in 2020, you'll know that we completed the West Highland Way. We walked it over 7 days in September of 2020 and I vowed never to do it again.
We'll never do it again.
2021, I walked the West Highland Way over 7 days with my father in September and I vowed never to do it again. So this is just a little chat from me about walking the way for a second time, what I found different, what mistakes we made the first time round, how we rectified that the second time round, and what a difference it made to the quality of our walk. So both times we have walked the West Highland Way, we have walked it in COVID times. It's just the way life is at the moment. But 2021 was significantly better than 2020. A lot more places were open. We were able to stop for more food options, which really helped along the way. Before we get started, just to clarify, we walked it around the same time. It was pretty much the first or second week of September. Now the weather was significantly different in 2021. 2020, we had 7 days of, well, we had 2 days actually of rain and a little bit of wet and drizzle. We have 5 days of really gorgeous weather. I mean, it wasn't like boiling hot, but it was warm and views for days, and it was just gorgeous. 2021, we had a lot of rain, 1 day of absolute blistering heat where it was very difficult to walk in, and 6 days of wet, drizzle, cold, fog and haze. Now, obviously, this does make a difference to the views. My dad, who walked it with me, it was his first time walking the way, and he was blown away by the views, like blown away. Even though day 2, we didn't even realise we'd reached the top of Conic Hill. The fog was that heavy, and he was still blown away. So, you know, don't let the weather put you off. It's Scotland, you're hiking, you're equipped, you can deal with it. It's just, if you do get a 1 or 2 days where the fog lifts and it's beautiful weather, take all those views in because it is just gorgeous. So let me have a little chat about what we did differently. First time we did it, we actually parked our car at the end point and got the train back to the start. Why did we do that? Well, because we'd heard a lot of people do it that way. We thought when we'd finished the walk, the car would be there and we wouldn't have to deal with getting the train. I know a lot of people, when they finish the walk, they walk into Fort Bill, they get the train back to Moorgate, and we were like, no, we don't want to do it. We'd heard horror stories of people like having blisters, not being able to walk, carrying your bags. Wasn't for us. We decided to park our car in Fort Bill, and then we got the train down to Moorgate, stayed in Moorgate, then the next day we started the walk. What we did differently this time round is we booked a return transfer. So when we walked into Fort Bill, pretty much we had an hour to spare there, and then a van picked us up and took us back to our accommodation in Moorgate. So we stayed both times at the Premier Inn in Moorgate. Great place to stay before you start the walk. Now, 2021, we left the car there. We just gave a donation into the tin and literally left the car there for a week. It was fine, perfectly safe. So I would highly recommend you doing that. Park up, stay the night at the Premier Inn in Moorgate, leave your car there for a week. When you walk into Fort Bill on day 7, book a transfer and you're literally sat on the bus, and an hour and a half later you're back in Moorgate. It's easy. It's a good way to do it. So I would highly recommend doing that. A big difference between 2020 and 2021 were the options for foods. Now, when we did it in 2020, we were kind of on a budget. So that really did have an effect on places where we were staying. So we stayed, for example, day 2, we stayed in the Rowdennan Youth Hostel. Great place to stay if you're on a budget, but because of COVID, there was no options for hot food. Now, day 2 was a hard day. No one really talks about day 2. Everyone talks about day 3. Day 2 is a hard day. I'm just telling you now, it's still, I've done it twice and I still found day 2 to be quite a shock to the system. Food makes a massive difference. I don't know how people do it in wild camp. I'm just going to throw it out there. They are a different kind of breed of people and I am not that person. I need food. Like, if I'm exerting myself to that level, I need food. I need to refuel myself. And this honestly made such a massive difference to me. So day 2, 2020, Rowden Youth Hostel, no hot food. Obviously COVID, kitchen was shut, microwave meals only. I'm not a fan of microwave meals. We opted against that. We basically, when we stopped for lunch in Balmaha day 2, we had a really big lunch and then we got pot noodles, bananas, etc. to have for our tea. I was starving. Woke up, obviously didn't have a breakfast because there was no kitchen, so we just had porridge oats. Some people are fine with that. I'm not. 2021, we booked into the Rowden Hotel. Now, price-wise, this is quite pricey. It was £110. So big difference to what we paid in the youth hostel the year before. But with that, the room was lovely. The shower was powerful and it was hot and was so much nicer than the shower facilities at Rowden Youth Hostel. Breakfast was included. It was a fry-up. Oh my God. And there was a bar that served really decent hot food. So, I mean, I guess you could walk, if you're staying at the Rowden Youth Hostel, you can walk to the Rowden Hotel for tea that night. I know when I got into the youth hostel, I was in no fit state. I was not walking anywhere. I could barely walk to the shower. So, you know, just have it as an option. But I would say make sure the facilities in wherever you're staying, the kitchens aren't closed. And if they are closed, have options. Having the hot meal in the Rowden Hotel at the end of day 2 sorted me out completely, and having a hot breakfast to start day 3, it's a must. You need something more substantial than whatever we have for breakfast on day 2 in 2020. Day 3 is horrific, I'm not going to lie, it's vile. What made a massive difference is the hotel after the waterfall, where everyone kind of naturally stops for a break. That hotel in 2020 was closed. The hotel in 2021 was open. Perfect. We got a packed lunch from Rowden Hotel. Great. So we sat down, we had our packed lunch on the picnic tables outside. It was actually an okay day. I mean, it wasn't raining, it was clear. We also went in and got a coffee and got a scone, got something. It's just having the ability to get a coffee. You know, I've done it both ways, where everywhere's been closed and you basically have to stop, eat, get walking again. And then I've done it where you can stop, eat, nip in for a coffee, go for a wee, and it just makes a massive difference. So I would highly, 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 highly recommend stopping there. Having your packed lunch, they do food as well, go in for food, getting a coffee, getting a scone, having a cake, because what's to come after that is the most horrific part of the West Highland Way. Vile. Also, before that, you will have made the choice to do the high or the low path. Take the high path. Take the high path. I've never done the low path. I'm not interested. I don't know what's there. It's not for me. Take the high path. So before that, you'll have taken the high path. You'll have come to your lunch break there. Enjoy it. Because I think the next part is quite difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's gorgeous. Now, when you get out, when you've done day 3, and you get out of all the scrambly bits, you'll see a nice little beach. It's where the loch is. So you've gone through all by the side of the loch. Oh, hell on earth, hell on earth. You come out, the loch is there, and there's a little bit of a sandy, beachy thing. Take it all in. That is a really good chance to change your socks, have a refuel, have a little swim. People were swimming in the loch. I went for the paddle, loved it. Because next, you know, you've got a nice, just standard of the West Highland Way. Every corner you turn, there's a hill, there's an incline, there's something to get up, which is just, it's brilliant. You've got one of them coming up, obviously, before you get to Buying-Glass. If you're staying at Buying-Glass, I highly recommend you stay at Buying-Glass. They know what they're doing. We booked one of those chalets, gorgeous. Food, amazing, highly recommend the burger, and I can highly, highly recommend the chicken curry. Breakfast the next morning, great. Now, here's something what I found so difficult in 2021, what I didn't even think of in 2020, day 4. Day 4 killed me. Day 4 was the worst day for me. It was so hot. It was like 21 degrees, which I know is not that hot, but when you're hiking, it's hot. And there was midges. Oh my God, the midges. 2020, I could feel a few little bits in my hair. Oh, it's going into Kinloch leaving, I could feel a bit. I had to rag my ponytail out and give my hair a good thing. Nothing else. There was nothing else. But let me tell you, the midges on day 4, oh my Christ. Get mozzie spray and apply it liberally. Like, there was a lot of overgrown sort of things we were walking through. I put it on, but I don't think I put enough on. Well, as we progressed through day 4, I found it getting trickier and trickier. I felt a bit dehydrated, which was impossible because I was drinking a lot of water. I was very short with my dad. I felt like something wasn't right. Do you know what I mean? Like, something wasn't quite right. I was looking down, I had no bite, there was nothing there. Get to our accommodation in Tyndrum, still not too sure, staying at this pub. Highly recommend for the fish and chips. The Tyndrum Inn, that's Tyndrum Inn, can't remember. Room wasn't really great, but the fish and chips was amazing. Breakfast the next day was an absolute shambles. Anyway, sat there, noticed all these mosquito bites coming up, midgie bites, whatever it was. I had 96 bites. I was in a bad way. So make sure you apply cream, no matter how hot it is, when you're walking through the overgrown bits. Try and cover up. In hindsight, I probably should have put my fleece on, but I was sweating. But definitely try and put something on to protect yourself. I had them everywhere. Face, neck, back, shoulders, arms, legs, ankles. They were everywhere. Take something to put on them. Ampersand worked a treat for me. So yeah, that was fun. Day 5, what can I say about day 5? Now, I got new walking boots for 2021. Made a hell of a difference. Really thick sole. When I'd done it in 2020, it didn't have the best walking boots and killed my feet. Day 5 killed my feet. I was gone. With my new boots, it was like I was walking on a cloud. It was amazing. So I would recommend really thick soles for day 5. I would recommend taking lots of snacks. I would highly recommend jelly beans. I would also recommend stopping at the Bridge of Orchy for a pot of tea and a scone, because that was life-changing. So we had breakfast on the morning of day 5, which was a disaster at Tyndrum Inn. We waited for ages and it was shite. But, you know, probably a bad day for them. When we got to Bridge of Orchy, I think you're about 6, 7, maybe. You're basically a third of the way in. Now, last time, Bridge of Orchy Hotel in 2020 was shut to people who weren't staying, so there was no option of stopping for food whatsoever. Now, I panicked. I didn't know what was open because I could not get an answer from Bridge of Orchy. So I had booked lunch at the Inveronin Hotel because I thought last time we had nothing. So let me bring you back to 2020. Where were we staying? We were staying somewhere in Tyndrum that didn't offer breakfast. We had porridge out for breakfast. Adam had a butty. We were on the road by 7 o'clock in the morning. There was nowhere to stop for lunch at the Bridge of Orchy. Inveronin Hotel, we experienced probably the worst customer service we've ever experienced. Basically, I'll put a clip in here of what happened.
We've just been to the Inveronin Hotel. So last night when we were planning our day today, we looked on their Facebook page and it said from the 14th of September, the hotel is currently closed to
non-residents.
Yeah, but they are doing a takeaway thing for walkers. So the walkers bar's closed, but you could go in and get like paninis and stuff. They said they had toasties, paninis, etc. So we messaged them to confirm it. They come back to us and said, yeah, great. So we came round today, knocked on, no answer. Spoke to some guy who was basically told us he doesn't know anything about it and that he doesn't have Facebook. So we just left. So we're just having.
I think he was a barman.
Don't know who he was, but he doesn't have Facebook, so he doesn't know apparently. So we are just leaving now and eating food from our stash. Happy days. I forgot to say as well, the fella who didn't have Facebook came back out and said to us he doesn't have paninis or rolls, but he has brown rolls. So what do you want? And I said nothing, but all right. So yeah.
So we didn't have a decent breakfast, we didn't have lunch, which led to Adam hallucinating it was quite scary actually when we got into King's house. He was a little bit delirious, so I was panicking. So I was thinking, okay, 2021, what can we do to avoid this? Okay, so we booked somewhere the night before that offers a hot breakfast, check. We booked somewhere for lunch, even though the customer service, what we experienced was shocking, and I just thought, do you know what, suck it up, go back for lunch. We booked a table for lunch. But Bridge of Orchy Hotel was open. Got there, had a scone and a pot of tea, sorted us right out. Didn't actually need our lunch stop at the Inveronen Hotel. Inveronen, not too sure. So we didn't actually stop there for lunch, but we walked past it and it looked pleasant. I mean, it looks gorgeous. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks absolutely stunning, and I would love to go back there and stay. This time we didn't use it for lunch, so we kept going to King's house. Midge's across Rannoch Moor. It was something else. The rain was coming down and we were getting pelted left, right and centre. I mean, obviously there was no shelter there whatsoever. You're on a freaking moor, you know. Views, didn't really get to see them because of the weather. Jelly beans got us through that walk across Rannoch Moor. I mean, it did get pretty bad at one point. We had a little dance. We made a West Highland Way playlist and we had a little dance, and it was quite fun. So getting into King's house was hard because the midges were out in force. So much so I had to cover my mouth with a piece of material I had because it was really quite bad. King's house, I love King's house. A couple of things changed. When we stayed in 2020, you could get your dinner in the way in. That didn't seem to be a thing anymore. People were eating in the bar. We ate in the bar. Probably it's really expensive. Main courses are like 22 quid, which is ridiculous. So what you probably could do is when you get into King's house, if you can have like an early tea, then they've got paninis and soups and stuff in the way in, so you could get that then and then just basically have an early night. Or we ate in the bar. It was expensive, but it was gorgeous. Breakfast the next day is actually served in the way in. It used to be served in the bar and you used to get a fry up. Now you only get a balm, like a breakfast balm. It's still amazing, but you know, just to note, we stayed in the bunkhouse. It's good. It's, you know, it's cheap and cheerful and got everything you need. So love King's house. Starting the next day with Devil's Staircase. You don't actually need lunch on that day, to be honest, because everyone tends to have a later start because it's King's house and it's only 8 miles or so. Devil's Staircase was great. Into Kinlochleven. Midges were about. But one thing I've actually forgot to mention, it was a massive deal. The night in King's house, I was feeling pressure on my lower leg while we were eating our meal. And I was thinking, oh, that's a bit strange. I wonder what that is. Got back to the room, pulled up my leggings to find something about this big. I'm going to insert a picture now. Look away if you're squeamish. So I think it was a bite that had turned a bit dodgy and it had a blister. And it was really tight and painful. And at this point, my feet started to swell up. So I was panicking. I Googled everything and I followed the advice. And yeah, it was okay. I was in quite a bit of pain though because it was really pulling tight on my leg. So every time I walked, it was pulling and it was very sore. So I covered it up, I cleaned it, I covered it up. And then the next day I was thinking, Devil's Staircase, what am I going to do? When I covered it with my leggings, the next day you could literally see a ball of pus at the back of my leggings. It looked like a golf ball. So what I had to do was I had to pull my legging up over it. So apologies to everyone who was walking Devil's Staircase behind me and could see this huge thing on my leg. Then I discovered I had 2 more on my other leg. So that was great fun. While I was walking Devil's Staircase, my husband was at home in Liverpool and he had actually called to find out if there was a chemist in Kinlochleven. There is not a chemist in Kinlochleven, but he spoke to someone from around there, kind of like a medical person, and they were saying it was an adverse reaction to a midge bite. It actually looked like a horsefly bite, but it wasn't. She said on the phone, it can look like a horsefly bite, but it's actually a reaction to a midge. So that was fun. So I needed a bandage, like a dressing sort of thing, and Kinlochleven isn't massively equipped with chemists. There is a post office which has a very small first aid section, but make sure you're equipped. I was not. So Kinloch leaving, I can highly recommend the Highland getaway for food. I've eaten there twice. We actually stayed in a different place this time round. We wanted to be on the road by 7 a.m. and they didn't offer breakfast until 7:30. So they made us up butties and it was gorgeous because we wanted to set off early on the start of day 7 because we knew we were getting picked up at 4 o'clock. 2020, my husband Adam, who I completed the walk with, he really hurt his knee and we didn't actually rock into Fort Bill until 5 o'clock. So I was paranoid because my dad was also in quite a bit of pain with his quad muscle. Going downhill was a real struggle for him. So I was like thinking, I don't want to miss our transport. So that's why we set off at 7 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, we rocked into Fort Bill at 3 p.m. So we had quite a bit of time to kill. But anyway, I can just... let me tell you about what happened with me blister. The whole blister thing, being attacked by the midges on day 4, definitely had an effect on me on day 5 and day 6. By day 7, it was fine. It had gone. I mean, I've got a scar. I've got war wounds, like it is pretty bad. But, you know, I woke up on the morning of day 7 and during the night it had popped. So I just kept it covered and it was fine. But do not underestimate the amount of midge spray you're going to need. But use it, apply more than you think. And don't just think because it's raining the midges are not out, because they are everywhere. What else can I say about day 7? There's nowhere to stop for lunch. Get a packed lunch. We went to the co-op. We got loads of little bits. My dad got cheese slices. So apologies if you were on the walk with us in September 2021 and you were being offered cheese slices by a Scouse fella. That was my dad. I can only apologise. We went to the pub after we finished our walk in Fort Bill and he was offering people cheese slices in the pub. Mortified. Yeah, get snacks for day 7. Enjoy the walk. It's quite hard. I forgot about day 7. You're knackered as well and you're just thinking, I just want to finish. It can be quite hard, but it's fun. And I'm never doing the West Highland Way again. Just going to throw it out there. I'm not doing it again. Basically, take insect repellent, apply it a lot, take a decent hat, thick soles, plan your food accordingly. Do not underestimate the importance of a good hot meal at the end of the day and a good hot meal to start the day. Just putting it out there. My experience in 2021 was so much better than 2020. Now, just want to touch on this briefly because this can be quite a controversial subject. 2020, I was carrying lockdown weight, quite a lot of weight looking back at the vlog. I was bigger than I have been. Well, I mean, the years of 2018 to 2020 have not exactly been kind to me, shall we say. So 2021, I started exercising a whole lot more. I got a Peloton bike. I'm obsessed with it. Now, for me personally, obviously I can only speak for me, but being fitter and losing a little bit of weight, didn't actually lose that much weight, but I was a lot fitter. I started to cycle. I really worked hard on that bike and I found the West Highland Way in 2021 much easier than when I did in 2020. Take what you will from that. I mean, you can do it. It's not that hard of a walk. It's hard, but it's not like impossible. You can do it whatever stage your fitness is, but I found it easier in 2021 when I was a little bit fitter. So just throwing it out there in case that's something that you can relate to. So yeah, that is the end of West Highland Way on this channel. We are never doing it again. If you're yet to do it, I wish you all the luck in the world. It is the most fantastic journey you could ever do. It's hard work, but it is bloody brilliant, and I envy every single person who is choosing to do it again. My time with the West Highland Way is done. I hope you found this helpful. Give us a little bit of love in the comments. I'd love to hear. I know we had a lot of comments from people who were planning it in 2021, so I would love to hear how you found the experience. Yeah, so take care and I will see you on the next one.